extend a heartfelt welcome to you all for Keynote Session 3, titled Civil Engineering Concepts in Sustainability Development, Key to Attain SDGs by Dr. SUBHA Ma'am at the IACEST 2023. I request Lata Ma'am to give the introduction of keynote speaker.
Good afternoon. It's my immense pleasure to introduce keynote speaker Dr. SUBHA Vishnudas. Dr. SUBHA Vishnudas, a professor in civil engineering, Cochin University of Science and Technology, Cochin. She graduated in civil engineering in the year 1991 and took masters in 1995 from Kerala. She pursued PhD from Delft University of Technology, the Netherlands in 2006. She has about 25 years of teaching and research experience and has around 80 publications in international journals and conferences. She has visited several countries like USA, Germany, Australia, Japan, Netherlands, Spain, etc. for paper presentations and invited talks. She is a member in several professional bodies in India and abroad. About 10 PhD scholars are working under our guidance in the field of sustainable development. Her areas of interest include sustainable building materials, sustainable water management, sustainable waste management, housing and green buildings. So we are privileged to have you, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am. Hello, are audible? Yeah.
So a very good afternoon to you all. I know you are very hungry, you students, and I'm not taking you through any theory part or in-depth knowledge of that, but I just want to show some photographs through which it will explain what the sustainable development possible through your subject civil engineering, because it is an integration of many things than wonders that you can do. Is it okay? Okay. So let us start our journey of civil engineering concepts in sustainable development, key to attain sustainable development goals. So this is how I do my presentation. Let's see what is sustainability, lessons of past and present, and some case studies, how we can attain this goal. So from 1968 we are talking about the creation of Club of Rome, about the sustainable development, which defines the meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And in 2007, the Rio de Janeiro conference has made the final document, and I started my journey of sustainable development since 2003. So this picture is well known to you all. If you Google search, you can see the 17 sustainable development goals, starts from no poverty to the global goals. So you, young aspirants, you can just go through each of these goals and set your destination where you fit in. So the Millennium Development Goal 12 shows the responsible consumption. By 2050, at current consumption rate, we will need about 8.5 planets to absorb our carbon dioxide emission, 6 planets worth steel, 3.5 planets to sustain cement supply, 3.5 planets to meet current timber demand. And we have to focus on doing better with less by wasting less. And this is the building sector in India. It is expected to grow from 12, it is 25 built up area. And by 20 it was 50, and by 2030 it will become 100. We have in 7 years we have to look upon. That means construction in the next 15 years is going to be much greater than the past 100 years. And this is what we have to tell the next generation and how sustainable the world will be. So let us learn from our history. That is effective ventilation. That was because there was an era where there was no electricity and that time we were using the ventilation as the central courtyard, and the similar design that the architects can do with the current design aspects. And there was rainwater harvesting well in the ancient past, and that is also possible here. So I must say, the last benchers, please don't talk. Your voice is much greater than mine. The specs, black t-shirt. Please see these pictures and see what you can do. So this is what we can learn from the nature. This is the Taylor bird. He has required temperature, humidity maintained all around the year, more insulated than other bird nests, stable against wind, protect from rain and visual access to outside. And the same with the day lighting. We can have wonders to have the solar light or the daylight, in which you can save a lot of energies. So what the difference you can bring about? That is the perceptions versus perceptive. Can we see environmental challenges differently? That is paradigm shift you record, innovations can emerge. That is, if you do not have a parking space, the better thing is you depend on public transport, you don't bring your car, so you take back the car. So again, we say a lot about the growing population, and you can make use of this population to see wonders, or we celebrate the population. And we say that the population is not a bloom, it can be a boom. That is like biomass of ants is much greater than biomass of 6.5 billion people, yet ants build their own dwellings, and people say that we are homeless. And again, the transit, can we pay for my fuel? Because we all own our own vehicle, we go to the petrol pumps, but if there is no fuel available, then how can we sustain? So we have to think about alternatives, look for public transport, electric cars, hydrogen fuel cars. And regarding the water source is depleting, that is what we always learn. And can we manage better? That means effective utilization of water resources. And here comes the problem is not availability, it is just a management. 90% of the wastewater is recyclable. And this is the case with the waste. My compound should be clean, that is what each of us are thinking about. But you can make money out of that waste, wealth from waste. And here again, the waste, the opportunity, that is citizens not ready to segregate at source. 1 year of organic waste at home, that saves 2 LPG cylinders. Economic value added by rack figures in India put about 100,000 tons per day of recycling. And same is the case with energy. Coal is our main source. And here again, 25 to 30% of coal requirement is being imported. And again, the renewable energy. There is no space for solar panels. That is what we say. But we can remodel. That is, we innovate building integration with photovoltaics. And this is what our Mahatma Gandhi said. That is, Earth has enough resources for our need, but not for our greed. So let's see what is being done in the ancient past, because in construction the use of cement in concrete contributes to the problem, and scientists and engineers believe building green and durable is the key to solving this problem. And to achieve this, researchers must move backward in time to examine how our predecessors built their structure without modern technology, and they can incorporate the techniques that were used to reduce the waste. You see, the Egyptian civilization, well, 3100 BC, we had the pyramids, which has been constructed by adobe, that is the sun-dried bricks. And in Syria, main construction was brick composed of 75% earth, 20% straw corn, and 15% water. And we again have cigarettes of Mesopotamia, the Great Mosque of Africa, and the Great Wall of China. It is about 21,196 kilometers long. And again, we have in India the Red Fort, the Taj Mahal, and the Ava Mahal. And in 2010, there was a Banasura Hill Resort was constructed in Kerala using the mud. Whereas in the same time, we have the Burj Khalifa in 2010 constructed in Dubai, utilizing about 330,000 meter cube of concrete, 55 tons of steel, and 22 million man hours. So why we sustainable construction practices are the need of the hour, and the sustainable water management is required, or why we talk about the sustainable cities. And we civil engineers can talk a lot about sustainable transportation, sustainable energy, etc. For that we require hours and hours and even years. So why this are the need of the hour? That is, in the age of global warming and the resulting climatic change, problem man-made interventions caused tremendous impact on the environment and ecosystem. and the major resource crisis across the planet. And understandably, the construction industry is to support the growing population, the living aspirations without expense of over-exploiting our mother nature. And the construction industry, together with the material industry that supported one of the major global consumer of natural resources, both physical and biological. Because the construction takes 50% of the global energy, 50% of the water, 60% of the materials, and 80% of the land of agriculture. And indirectly, 50% of the coral reef and 25% of the rainforest cover is compromised due to construction. And therefore, the need of the hour is to acknowledge the sustainable construction practices which has a positive impact on the environment both during the construction and throughout the life cycle of the building. And sustainable energy is the process of designing our operation system that they use energy resources does not compromise the natural environment and the ability of future generation to meet their needs. And the sustainable building material are those which are rapidly renewable, recyclable, reusable, which reduce waste, replenish and regenerate the environment. So these are the sustainable pillars that we say, the social, environmental and economic. And we can divide the sustainable development goals into these three pillars. That is, socially acceptable, environmental friendly and economically viable. Acceptable means it should be technical, sound and reliable, thermal comfort and sound insulation. Awareness means durability, concern and health aspects. And availability is the easy procurement, labor friendly and faster completion of finishing. And the environmental sustainability, that is zero carbon emission, overall health improvement, minimum depletion of natural resources, minimum waste generation, conversion of piled up waste material into useful material, and production of energy from waste. And the embedded energy is useful indicator of environmental impact of construction material, and it is the sum of all energy required. That is acquisition of the raw material, manufacture the finished product, transportation, construction of building, maintenance and demolition of building. And the economic aspects covers the material cost, labor cost, installation cost. Even we think about building a home for ourselves, we have to take about all these constraints. And the operation and maintenance cost should not be very high after the construction, and generation of income by converting the waste to energy, that is very important. And while we look upon the ancient building material, we had mud, bamboo, plant fibers, plant extracts, animal excreta, bull's blood, egg white, laterite stone, lime and gypsum. So from the 3 R's that we are talking about, the renewable, recyclable and reduce and reusable, we should always think about the 6 R's, that is refuse to build, repair and recover the energy from it. So look about the waste materials, we have enough agriculture waste which can be converted into sustainable building materials. That is rices, bagasse, coir pit, coconut shells, and again the industrial waste like fly ash, GGBS, and again the C&D waste, because there was an era of construction, now it is the era of demolishing that is being taken place. And this is the life cycle which of 3 phases, pre-building phase, building phase and post-building phase. That means when you search or when you go to select a material, you must think that whether it can be usable. Otherwise, if it cannot be reusable, you have to refuge on the site. And once you demolish that building, you must realize that it should be recyclable or reproduce or rebuild. So you bring into the green concept, we have the sustainable development goals 3, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 15 and 17 can be met while you do the construction. People's health and well-being, select the materials accordingly, share, utilize renewable energy, make use of solar power, quality employment and growing economy. You can make use of all the different products that you develop into the circular economy, encourage innovation, then sustainable cities and communities, that's how you can develop. Utilize the concepts of preventing resource waste and also minimize the emissions to mitigate the climate change, and can increase biodiversity, conserving and build powerful global partners. That means the responsible utilization of resources, an alternative to masonry mortar, a case from Kerala state, to demonstrate how you can attain all these constructions. So these are the resources in Kerala, the coconut, the paddy and the cashew, enough of our fruits that we develop. And about 80 tons of fiber can be extracted from 1 million coconut. 200 kg of rice husk is obtained as residue from 1000 kg of paddy. And 200 kg of rice husk when burned get reduced to 50 kg of ash, that is the rice husk ash which can be used instead of cement. And again, the cashew nut shell liquid that is extracted from the kernel of cashew nuts while roasting, and it is an antioxidant and excellent water repellent. And we have the livestock farming. Cattle constitute the major population, and it makes a little over 27% of gross state value added from the agriculture sector. So we had utilized this agriculture residue in conventional cement-based mortar and plaster, in which first we had made the alkali treatment, and 0.1 to 0.3% by weight in mortar and plaster were added with 10 mm to 25 mm like as reinforcement, and ricer's cash is being replaced as a partial replacement 5 to 10% by weight, and crushed graded manufactured sand was used, and the proportions vary from 1.1 to 1.8, and we find that about incorporating coir fiber of 0.5% 10 mm like enhance the mechanical properties of masonry mortar from strong mix to weak mix, because you might have learned what is strong mix and weak mix, that is from 1:3 to 1:8. And partial replacement is required proportion was equally good in maintaining long-term strength. And all the mortar samples satisfies the strength requirement as specified by IS 9D05 1987. And there comes the next one is the utilization of agricultural residue and livestock waste in traditional earth-based mortar and plaster. And these unique properties are breathability, crack propagation, termite attack and moisture ingress, and presence of fibers in cow dung that check crack propagation, being an effective insecticide to check termite attack. Moisture ingress of cow dung stabilized mud mortar can be checked by cashew nut shell liquid, which is excellent water repellent. And here again the cow dung stabilized mud mortar and that treated with cashew nut shell liquid attained compressive strength by IS 2250 in 1981. Linear shrinkage of virgin mud mortar got reduced by 40 to 50% by adding 10 to 20% of cow dung, and moisture increase of 10 to 20 cow dung stabilized mud mortar got reduced by 50 to 70% with the addition of 10% cashew nut. And we could make a product by using coir fiber as an acoustic panel, which will be absorbing 85 to 87 sound with a frequency domain of 500 to 5000 Hz. And it is rated as V1 category of flame resistance detecting burning is not sustained. And again, the agriculture residue based cement sand bricks can be made by utilizing the moderate and weak mortar proportion reinforced with coir fiber of 20 to 30 meters line, ricer's cash 10 to 20 and their combinations, and possess compressive strength and water absorbing conforming to that of first class bricks, and again can be used as an alternative for fireplace bricks. And again, since this can be utilized as a plaster cement which will reduce the shrinkage gap, it can be made available as the cement bags that you have for 50 kg cements or 25 kg cement bags. So by having this utilization of resources as a cement based product in the construction of acoustic panel or the cement mortar or with the cement, you can attain the target 12.2, achievement of sustainable management and efficient use of natural resources. The attainment is the utilization of product of agricultural crops such as paddy, coconut, cashew nut and earth for construction, which are locally available natural resources in Kerala. And 12.5 is the sustainable reduce of waste generation through prevention, reduction, recycling and reuse. The attainment is effective utilization of agricultural waste residues such as coir fiber, ricer's cash, cashew nut shell liquid, livestock waste such as cow dung as raw material in construction, reducing the waste disposal, and utilization of earth as building material permit reuse after demolishing. And there again the target 12.6, encourage companies, especially large and transitional companies, to adopt sustainable practices to integrate sustainable information to their reporting cycle. And the outcome, attainment of SDG 1, the no poverty and zero hunger, because the demand for coir fiber, ricer's cash and cashew nut shell liquid in construction industry will open greater employment opportunity in the industries, particularly for women laborers who are unable to seek employment, and manpower will have to be employed. And again, the findings and open a new market for cashew nut shell liquid in the construction sector, demanding greater production, and the regeneration of coir industry and cashew nut industry would secure employment. And the demand for cow dung in earth-based construction shall encourage livestock farmers to foster native breed of cows that provide good quality cow dung cement. And the attainment of SDG 1 and 02 and the attainment of SDC and SDG 4 are main achievement of this research. And all the experimental details that if you work for the experimental study can be referred with these 4 journals in which the experimental details and analysis is being well given. One is preventing flexural and compressive strength of masonry, mortar and plaster, that is using coir fiber and risers, and that is the waste that we get from the agricultural industry of coconut as well as the rice. And then the applied acoustics, there again we use the rices as well as the coir, and the lignocellulose material reinforcement for the binder, and again the mud as a construction material. And let's just have this about the material, how we can do about the water management. This is another case study that we look upon. And here, this is the first picture that comes to one mind when you say about scarcity of water, because it is the problem across the world. Because the crisis has many phases. There is a teenager in Africa, walk 3 miles, a teenager boy in China is affected with terrible skin disease, impoverished slum dwellers in Anglo-Drove, drinking water from the local river where their sewage is being dumped. And water is critical for life and for livelihood, and 1 in every 6 humans has no access to clean water, and half of the people in developing countries have no access to proper sanitation. And according to UN, every day 4,500 children under the age of 5 die around the world, and more people die from dirty water and poor sanitation than all forms of violence. And this is the competing water use across the world in low and mid income countries and high income countries, where 70 to 82% is in the agriculture, whereas 59% in the developed countries. And we have depending upon the groundwater for that. And this is the picture of stress on the world's river basins. The earth is having only 71% of water surface, and it has only 2.5% of fresh water. And India, which is 2.2 land area, which requires 4% of fresh water and 17% of population, to depends. Hence, we need to use water sustainably. And this is a 2020 edition of UN World Water Development Report, which addresses the critical linkage between water and climate change in the context of sustainable development. And here to address, it outlines action in 3 areas: enabling people to adapt the impact of climate change, improving the resilience of livelihood, and reducing the drivers of climate change. That is critical measures to improve the efficiency of water use in agriculture, and these includes those related to zero hunger, availability and access to water, climate action, promoting the sustainable use of ecosystem services. The world population is projected to reach about 8.5 billion in 2030 and increase further to 9.7 billion in 2050 and 10.4 billion by 2100. That is the UN report says. By 2030, 2/3 of the world population will be living in water stress conditions, and 17% more water to grow food, and water use increased by 40%. And do you know that is 30 liters of water is required for a tomato to grow, 25 liters of water for a potato, 35 liters for a cup of tea, 70 liters for an apple, and 75 liters for a beer, 120 for a wine, 140 for a cup of coffee, 170 for an orange juice, 200 for a glass of milk, and 2,400 water for a hamburger. And 1 kg grain grown under favorable conditions requires 1,000 to 2,000 liters of water. And single head of broccoli is required about 20 liters of water. And it takes about 1,000 to 3,000 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of rice. And again 13,000 to 15,000 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of beef. And meaning it comes from rain that falls on crops, pastures, which marginal environmental impact. In fact, a healthy person drinks only 2 to 4 liters of water, but it takes about 2,000 to 5,000 liters of water to produce one person's daily food. So whenever you throw the food as waste where to your mom cook, you just imagine how much virtual water you are being wasting out. And again, the irrigation water is wasted. Food is much, much greater than the irrigation water used by any nation. And when we waste food, we should always remind that we waste water. Apart from this, some important fact is that the storage of water related to spatial and temporal distribution is not available about the right place in the right time. And in the eyes of public, water scarcity means lack of drinking water. And thus is not a problem of water scarcity, it is a problem of water management. There is enough water for meeting our basic needs, and storage is primarily much more a problem of lifestyle and poor management. And this is what we had. We had the rainwater harvesting well in 2500 to 1900 BC, and again the Johots of Rajasthan and the Bengal floodplain. And we have the rainwater harvesting in Rajasthan today that brings water in the agriculture and domestic use for Satluj and Beas. There is full irrigation in the Spiti Valley, and again the bamboo pies used to divert perennial springs of hilltops in the Meghalaya. And again the serpent caves in Kerala, which retains the ecosystem. So Increasing population and increasing urbanization threatens both the health and availability of water resources, but we all know that water is fugitive. It flows under gravity, and if we don't capture, it is gone. And the prime source of water is rain. And this is what the Upanishad says: water is running, make it walk; water is walking, make it stand; and water is standing, make it sit. And if the water is sitting, make it sleep. So this is what we can do to protect our Mother Earth and to have a sustainable water. That is running river, provide check dams, so make it walk, then pond which will make it stand, and pits will make it sit, and even rainwater harvesting that will make the water to sleep. Otherwise, we will be struggling and we will be having both the animals and we ourselves is for the water to capture. So we did a short study of sustainable watershed management in the Attapadi region in the hilltops, where we had the chain of sustainability defined with a conceptual framework and analysis. So the chain of sustainability defines that with sustainable technological options ensures the sustainability of land, agriculture and forestry, conserve natural resources with adequate institutional and economic. And for a watershed to be sustainable, four main elements need to be considered: resources, technology, institution and economic. And the suitable metaphor for these four elements is a chain of shackles. The chain is as strong as the weakest shackle. And just like this chain, if it is break, the entire system is being lost. And within the chain, there is no compensation between the high and low scores, but within an element, components can compromise each other. And this is the framework that we made for the integrated watershed management. And we did an analysis for this. Yeah. And here, that is, this is between the two portions, that is Attapadi and Damachal is the site. It is a purely the tribal area where about 80% were illiterate, and the change in forest cover is being depleted, that is towards from 444 kilometers to 164 kilometers. And we had the People's Institution there with user associations and forest management. And there is a group that was, monitoring entire from an awards. And the major problem is about the indiscriminate exploitation of forest resource, excessive soil erosion runoff, decline of fertility, natural plant species is restricted, desertification started, and livelihood depletion, poverty and malnutrition. So a lot of interventions in soil and water conservations were taken out, and this is how they did with the joint forest management. That is, they were using the mud pot in which the thread is being kept to provide the drip irrigation in the the forest region. So literacy campaigns were complete, and after 5 years' time, the spring got regenerated. And multi-species plantation, biomass conservation, then fencing and fire lining, all these things we done. About 20 lakh mantays created. 2001, the plantations were in the first figure, and in 2022, the well-maintained joint forest system was being applicable. And this is the area of 1994, and this is about 2005, and this shows that 2001 and 2002 is now, that is the impact that created with the joint forest management done by APARTS. And again, there was agronomic conservation works, and that continues with field with millet cultivation. Then streamside protections were constructed, and this is the picture in 2004 and 2005 with the valley region is being now well with agriculture. And the other tabs is there is the hamlet development, and ecological impact is more than 60% surviving planted stock has brought the greenery back to the landscape. There is increase in forest area and increase in subsurface water availability. And there is social impact also, the massive people participation, women and indigenous people. And more than 4.38 million man days of employment was generated in this project. And now the women is so empowered that purposely linkage in women empowerment in the Attapadi region. There is a shortcomings that once suddenly the project was being withdrawn, and that the economic sustainability was little bit affected, and the coordination was not again, there is no interrelated or integration among the departments. And in 2012, when the project stopped, and after 10 years of performance evaluation regarding eco restoration, there is no more wasteland in Attapadi. Population increased in valley region, land price has been increased, awareness creation has a positive impact, dropout reduced, literacy rate increased to 16% to 62%, and tribal population, the creation was successful, their self-confidence has increased, and they work in user groups for the millet cultivation now, the traditional staple food and also marketing to societies. And The other problem is that all community development fund got blocked because the government project was withdrawn, and about 6 crores of rupees in bank account is now unspent. So there is some measures has to be taken. And the second one is an Armachal watershed in Trivandrum. There again the similar problems were they depends on 2 village ponds for irrigation and water supply. There again the same thing has been done. And there what we did is we did a experimental study using coagulated style for stabilizing the side banks, because every year they want to spend a lot of money for the side bank protection. So main objective was to study this performance in erosion and water retention, both the qualitative and quantitative analysis with the participation of the people there, and to create awareness how the need for practicing economic conservation for land and water management, and compare the soil loss in stabilized vegetative banks. And here again we did with the case study here, and locally available material, coir and bamboo was being taken, different types of geotextile was being selected, and this is how we laid that for the pond. And sidewise we did the experimental laboratory investigations, and we had all this data with this. Here again we have good publications for the experimental details you can measure. And after 7 months we could see that the side banks was being stabilized with the natural grass as well as the stags. So here what we realized that the success of the project depends on the sustainability of all the elements of sustainability chain, appropriate technology, people's participation, effective conservation, economic feasibility are the key elements essential for the sustainable management of natural resources. Simple and low-cost technology is more acceptable, and if project does not generate enough benefits, then it will not be sustainable. And here again SDG 1, SDG 2, SDG 3, SDG 4 and SDG 6 is being ensured. And here the rich to valley concept, delineation of watershed, decentralized planning, awareness creation, transparency in activities are the essential thing for any sustainable development. So then the chain is strong as the weakest chapter. So I will just skip through a little bit about the cities, because when we think about cities we have all amenities and facilities here. And what about the cities, why we say? We had a quick study about the cities. This is the beautiful city of Cochin, city in Kerala, where we have about 94.88 square kilometers in area, which support about 6 million population. And this is a beautiful city, for everything is there, the walkway is there, the stadium, the international airport, the metro and the marine drive is there. But on the other face we have problems, impact of waste that is being dumped in almost in the urban area, and also the scarcity of water that happens because after the January there is dry spell, then people start agitating about the water. And this is what happens in the city when the rain comes. This is what is in the last 1 week in Cochin, and there was a fire set in the Brahmapuram plant because of the legal waste is there. And this is a city with about 78% of people is a residential in the city. And we studied an ecological footprint analysis to learn the problems, because we know the consumption of natural resources increased by 40 and biodiversity decreased by 30%. And urban population is India decadal growth is about 3.3, and Kerala is having the H2% in 2011, which is the 9th rank. And we are farther away from the sustainability, but now want to have a sustainable solution. So what we learned is about the food footprint, housing footprint, good footprint and the mobility footprint, and we did it in the city, and we understood that if you live like this, creating the waste, about 1.3 planets will be required by if you all started living like this. And even though shelter footprint is higher, there are so many hamlet development problems, so we concentrate on the waste disposal, and we have analyzed with different problems. And major issues we find is that poor layer of waste collection, no planned recyclable reuse, insufficient collection disposal system, obsolete waste handling, and inadequate street cleaning and mosquito minutes. And we conducted the studies, and that we also understood that the organic waste is the most important component, and we focused on the waste footprint issue in the residential area. So this is we categorized with density, location, waste disposal mode, type and ownership. And again it was done in 3 seasons, and it was understood that organic waste consumption is much higher, and if you go like this by 2051 the entire city will be required, because 98.44 is the area, and here it requires 92.44 by 2051. So source reduction is much important for the waste reduction. So we just made with a targeted waste reduction techniques that the implemented projects and a projected waste disposal, that is reduction at source, and say no to different aspects of the waste. And with the ecological footprint analysis, we could reduce the footprint area from 9244 to 836. And what we did is like we made a sustainable domestic organic waste management definition with a wheel of sustainable development organic waste management, in which here again we made a framework to analyze such that there cannot be any compromise between the main important terms. And the entire 500 samples were being analyzed with respect to environmental, technical, economical, social and institutional, organizational, and evaluation of the biogas technology being carried out, households who are using this technology inside the city and outside with questionnaire and also personal interviews. And we understood that there is general aspect, technical aspects, environmental aspects and social aspects we studied, in which we realized that reduction at source of organic waste is much possible, which is the major component of the solid waste which is being mixed with other waste without any segregation. And these are the benefits of the biogas: women empowerment, organic manner, improved global scale, it can be environmental benefit. Water leaks is that large volume input material, high cost of construction, corrosion of gas holders, accumulation of moisture, but these all are technical things which we can rectify. And paper waste, even you know that if Times New Roman, if it is 12 font you are using, and if it is for 100 pages, if you make it 11, then automatically 10 pages you can save. Likewise, you can reduce the footprint for each and everything. Don't take the footprint. So many techniques that we can adopt for reducing the footprint of paper. Likewise with the metal waste, glass waste, because the time is very limited, so I am just showing the insight about this. And again with the plastic waste, say no to plastic. You can just use all those things which we can retrace. That is, bottom line is that discard plastic, stick on to alternative to plastic, collect for the plastic already in the waste stream and dispose the same with less environmental impact. So policies and strategies should be that we have to enforce. We have a lot of plans, the policies, strategies and rules, but we are not adopting. But take to your routine that we have to adopt these strategies to protect our Mother Earth. So recycling techniques, improve biogas technology, and the most efficient and cost-effective way is waste diversion, waste minimization, being effective people's participation, supported by adequate legislative policies for integrated waste management. And let each of us try to reduce our footprint, is that our future generations see the beautiful world. And regarding the water scarcity, here again we have now enough water till August in Cochin and elsewhere in the Kerala where flooding is the main problem. But after 6 months we started talking about scarcity of water. So here again it is not in Cochin, urban centers are facing ironical situation. On one hand there is acute water shortage, and this led to serious problem with quality and quantity of groundwater. And this is the situation that we always see between the monsoon and the drought season. And most of the water harvesting system in cities have been neglected. At present, cities are extensive network, distribution is not uniform, supplemented with tankers, and quality of water is a major concern. 20 to 25% lost is leakage, there is seawater intrusion, industrial pollution, and waste is flushed down the drain. With the drinking and cooking, we need only 20% and 60% with bathing, and 80% end up as wastewater, and tariff of water is too low. It's almost finished. And this water which is so useful to life is impossible, which has such a low price, but diamonds which are quite unnecessary has a higher price. Here again we have just made a framework. We did a study where the artificial recharge is being done to the ground as well as rainwater harvesting, and we understood that it is possible for us to have the rainwater harvesting for each of our drinking need, as well as we can support from the rainwater that we receive. So the rainwater harvesting, groundwater recharge is feasible in cities to solve the water scarcity problem. It can be harvested to rooftop harvesting and also supply only for drinking purpose, and should be priced like cooking gas and electricity, because we always try to save the cooking gas and electricity because they are highly priced. And energy conservation, it is can be we can get, and the salinity intrusion and groundwater depletion can be reduced by having the harvesting both in the tanks. And these are the main charges that we have. So we have to use water more sustainably by cutting waste, and irrigation techniques also we have different methods. And again, we can have water should be, the subsidies of water should be limited with respect to the season, because people is having this availability feeling, so that they are misusing it. And the harvesting, that is an essential part. Grey water can be treated and it can be utilized for even for the agriculture, that everyone can have a house in a garden scheme. And you know that one little drop of water that will be through the physics, that will be about 1 crore of water droplets that you are having done. And creations, all these things. Even in Japan, you can see the hand wash is being connected to the water of the for the stills. And these are the things that you can do. Otherwise, this is no. And this is the well-mentioned the rainbow of the water. This is white water which is being interstitial evaporation. Virtual water which is purple, because we all have the curiosity to know what happens to the water. Blue water is the surface water, and deep blue water is the groundwater. Green water is the vegetation, and grey water that you have the kitchen sink, and the black water is the organic toilet. And this is what we can see, what is seen, and these pictures that is collecting even the turbid water for the drinking purpose. And this is the lessons that each area or each spot is unique, that we have to study in detail and analyze the problem. And this is the engineers will translate the dream of humanity, traditional knowledge, and the concept of science into action through the creative application of technology to achieve sustainable development. And ethics education practice to shape the sustainable future for all generations and to achieve this vision. And this is the World Engineering Partnership for Sustainable Development call says. And we should have a sustainable solid waste management, clean city, and sustainable green environment. And with a small video that youth children has to think upon, this is an ad of a Tata tea, but it is well being demonstrated.
Welcome parents. We are ready to begin. Kindly settle down.
Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water, but all the water had dried up. The world was now much hotter. So Jack and Jill sat on the hill. Their throats were so dry, they couldn't find a drop to drink. And one day, neither will I. मछली जल की थी रानी, जीवन उसका था पानी, पर पानी में प्लास्टिक फेंकते रहे हम, मछली को तड़पते हुए बस देखते रहे हम। धीरे धीरे मर गई मछलियाँ सारी, रह गए बस फेंकी हुई चीजें हमारी। Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you want. Up above the smoggy sky, I have never seen you. I wonder why. The smoke, it makes sweat just so tight. For every breath, I must fight. Mummies and daddies, आपके बचपन की फेवरेट पोएम्स बदल जाएंगी, क्योंकि हमारा बचपन क्लाइमेट चेंज की वजह से बदल रहा है। इससे लड़ने के लिए हम सबको चेंज होना पड़ेगा। जागो जागो जागो। क्लाइमेट चेंज से हम कैसे लड़ सकते हैं, जानिए jagore.com पर।
So this is an ad by the Tata tea, but it is well defining the climate change. That is, we all have this twinkle twinkle and Jack and Jill in our mind, and that is what we have teach you as well. But this is going to change unless we protect our Mother Earth. So take to heart that slogan like save every drop of water and save our Mother Earth. Thank you very much for the patient listening.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a very informative session. Humbled by your presence, SUBHA ma'am, in AICESD 2023. Thank you for sparing your time to share your key message amongst us. Now I request Menon sir to felicitate Dr. Sudhavi ma'am on behalf of Jyoti Institute of Technology, Bengaluru. sir. We are sure that audience have found this session valuable and informative. Thank you, ma'am. We are humbled by your response and thank you for your active participation.